Alrighty, so I'm going to show you how to make your sawmill automatically driven for under $200 with these simple parts and a couple tools. Anyone can do it, and I'm going to show you how.
No way, dude. No way.
Us three brothers have made a mobile sawmilling business. So if you are interested in getting some wood milled at your house and you're in the East Texas area, just give us an email at countrytexasboys@gmail.com and we'll get you hooked up, and we can always come to your house and mill up some of your wood just for you. Okay, so here is the stuff we need. So as you can see, what we're going to be using for the main powering our winch is going to be this 3,000-pound XPV auto winch. No, we're not sponsored.Ey're just a pretty good winch brand, and it was relatively budget winch. And what I really liked about this winch is it had this vinyl cable, which is really nice. And what we were looking for a soft cable, that way it's not hard to pull out, because as you'll see later in this video how this is gonna work, one of the main features is we're gonna need it to be able to release easily. So I wanted a winch with a vinyl cable and a free spool, which if you don't know what that means, it means you can just pull it out super easy. That's what I was looking for in a winch. So that is what we're gonna be using for our power. This is a DC winch. So to regulate our winch, I knew that I wanted the winch to pull the sawmill, but the only thing about winches is they're relatively fast and extremely powerful. So you don't want it to pull the sawmill through the wood so fast that it binds it up and breaks the sawmill. So you want to be able to slow the speed down. I looked and looked, but there was no winches that actually had speed control built into them. So what I bought here, hoping that this will work, is a speed control box for a DC motor. So this is a DC motor, and this is a DC motor speed control box. So you can actually adjust your speed, your forward, and your reverse with your outputs. So that is what we are going to be using to mount onto the sawmill to be able to control our winch speed. This winch also comes with what we wanted when we were looking for a winch, is a wireless remote. And it also comes with the wired remote will be on the head, and then the wireless remote will be right here. So if we want to drive the sawmill forward, we can simply just click a button and hold it, and that makes it really nice. So a remote like that was already built into the winch was one of the things I was looking for. Now let's talk about some of the steel you're using. Now, depending on your sawmill, you can customize this to whatever sawmill you have. We have a Woodland Mills 130 Max, just a standard, nothing fancy, but so that's what this is the supplies to do with that. But the idea, the basic principle, expands with pretty much every manual sawmill. So what we have here is a 36-inch piece of 3/4 inch galvanized pipe. This is that iron pipe that you can find at the hardware store. So we have a piece of this. We have an 8-inch piece of the same 3/4 inch steel pipe, and a 3/4 inch elbow. Now, I'm just telling you the parts. I'll show you how it's gonna work later. Then I'm using this because I already had this laying around, and sometimes this pipe's a little expensive. But all this is this is 1/2 inch, the same iron pipe, and it is just an angle with a mounting bracket that I've widened the holes on, and then I've just put some tack welds on here. That way, as this will be our anchoring point for our winch, you can pretty much use whatever you want, but this, I'll show you why this is such a good option. So I'm going to be using this to anchor the winch to. Now, if you don't have a welder, that's okay. I'm going to show you today how you can do this with or without a welder. So I'll get into that, but all you would do is drill holes through this iron pipe and then put in some self-tapping screws, and that would keep it from coming undone. So we're going to need that. So, and then we have some more stuff. So, on our sawmill, it has an electric start motor, which means it already comes with a battery, and the motor already has a mini alternator on it, which is extremely convenient for us because while the sawmill is running, it keeps that battery charged. If you don't, it's no big deal. You're gonna wanna go out and buy just a normal small lawn mower battery that you can get from Atwoods or Walmart, just one of those smaller lawnmower batteries. and then you're gonna need something to charge it. That's what I have in this box right here. This is a trickle charger and maintainer, and what this is it's a 7.5 watt rugged waterproof solar panel battery charger. If your I'm going to be adding this to our sawmill anyway, just to keep the battery topped off, because why not? But if your sawmill does not have an alternator on it and you still want to do this, mount that up to the top of your sawmill. We're going to show you how we do that. That way it'll keep that battery charged off and you can still use this. Then we're just going to run down some of the hardware that we need. Since we were adding this box, I had to get some extra wire. I went to ABC Auto and got this 10 feet of 10 gauge wire. I got it in yellow and blue because that is winch colors. It's you can get it in red and black, it doesn't matter. If you have it laying around, that's awesome. Then I got some crimp style connectors and some splices, and then that is pretty much it for wiring up. I got some of these 1-inch conduit straps, and that will strap around these pipes for just holding that into place. You'll see what that's for in a little bit. Hardware that came with the winch, I don't know how much of that we'll be using, but this is some hardware that we went out and bought from the hardware store. Now this is 5-inch long bolts, and these are I think 3/8 thick. So these are for bolting our winch head onto the sawmill. I'll show you how you can do that, and I'll show you where we're going to do it and how we're going to do it. There's also multiple other options. If you don't want to drill through it, you could also get like a U-bolt and go around it and clamp it on, but I'll show you that. A good, this one looks a little rusty, but it is sharp. A good drill bit to drill through your sawmill in some of the places that you're going to need to. The body, like the frame of our sawmill, is aluminum, which is very nice because it's very easy to drill through. But if you do steel, maybe you might want to get like a step bit, something that's good for some high steel. That's pretty much it. And then I have a pencil and some speed square for some marking some stuff out. Screwdriver, wire cutters, some more smaller bits. I have a wire splicer and stripper for doing our wiring connections. Screwdriver, hammer, that's pretty much it. An impact or a drill for doing all your drilling stuff. And that's pretty much it. Also, I got some good black Rust-Oleum paint. That will be our first project right here. We're just gonna quick give this spray this stuff. And since it's Texas and it's hot outside, it will dry pretty quick. So we'll get this all painted up and then we'll go to the next step. Little annoying plastic caps. And what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna take one of these and slide it back on over our 8-inch piece. What this will do, our winch cable is gonna go through here, and this plastic just makes less wear on this winch cable as it goes through. So this pipe kind of comes with like an oily coating on it, so I'm just using some of this super clean Purple Power degreaser stuff. I'm just gonna spray it on here. That way, only reason I'm doing this, if you want to, it's galvanized, it's not going to rust. You don't have to paint it. I just think it'll look a little nicer and more professional if I paint it. So I'm just degreasing all this oil. Oh yeah, that works good. Take long. So we're gonna disconnect this from its mounting plate. I actually decided that way it's easier to mount without the mounting plate on, and for this application we don't really need it. So with this little collet thing here, I think that's what they call it, this little metal thing that goes in the end of the cable, it's for receiving the hook on there. It's really good and you need it to be really strong, but the way we're gonna feed this through that pipe, it won't fit through there. So all you have to do is push right on the tip, and you kind of wiggle this, it'll come right out. So save that over there. That way, if you could see, we can just scrunchie that up, slide it right through that pipe, and then pull it back out, put it back in. So we can just slide this out and set that mounting plate aside. In your application, if you need it, go ahead and use it. I mean, it is a super nice thick mounting plate, but in our application, we just don't need it. So we're just gonna set that aside. So now that we have our winch, we are gonna grab our hardware that we got from the hardware store. I got two different sizes. I got 5/16 and 3/8. You can see there. I think I'm gonna try to see if this 3/8 fits through, because that's thicker and better. See, this is why I got two different sizes. It doesn't. So why you just get two different sizes? Well, that's why you should probably just measure your holes before you go to the hardware store. And then that slides through there perfectly, and we can bolt that right to the sawmill. So here's the sawmill. the winch is going to be, we knew that we wanted it to be pulling, you know, of course from this end, and we know that we wanted it as low as possible because we don't want the rope to be in the way of loading and unloading logs, and you don't want it to get tangled or you trip over it or anything like that. And we also debated, like, does it need to be even? Does there need to be a pulley that goes around or 2 winches to pull it evenly? We decided no, and here's why. Because if you look at this mill and lots of other mills, practically all of them, either the handle's on this side or that side, and the mill is designed to be pushed from one side. So we are going to be doing the same thing with the winch, pulling from one side. So we decided, in our opinion, now if this all flops and doesn't go good, then obviously we did it wrong and we probably should have thought better. But in our opinion, we think that mounting one winch from one side will be perfectly fine. It could go wrong, we don't know. So I'll show you just kind of with my fingers. That iron pipe is going to mount here, go down and under here and out there. That way it'll reroute our winch cable around the bottom. And that's what we're going to be using that for. So we're going to mount the winch right about here, I'm thinking. And what's awesome about mounting it here is this is right where you're using this, giving it throttle and all that stuff. So all you have to do is simply pull the winch to release it, and it's right here, right where you're using all your other stuff, which is really cool. So what we want to do now is mark these holes with a pencil. Now, just for preference, I'm going to put it up against this bracket because I know that bracket's flat, and I'm going to try to get it roughly in the middle. And I am just going to give myself a hole there and a hole there, and I'm going to be measuring with a speed square the distance between and squaring them up perfectly before we drill our holes. So let's do that real quick. So I'm going to start with a pre-drill here just to get us set on track here. That hole lines up in the middle. Okay, we're good. Doing that pre-drill just makes it easier than going straight at it with the biggest bit. So perfect size. Okay. You want a hair because I know I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not a drill press, so yeah, that way it goes all the way through. So this is just a standard size Milwaukee bit. So, yeah, ha! This side is gonna be easy. Okay. Now on the next one, I might just pre-drill on both sides.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I didn't say it was gonna be easy, but that wasn't, I mean, 2 minutes, you know, it doesn't take that long.
If you had a drill, it would be.
If I had a drill, it'd be faster. Don't attempt this with like some really cheesy knockoff or anything. If you don't have a cordless drill, get a really good corded drill because it probably would kill any little batteries. But it would help if you really want to make it easy for yourself. Buy a brand new drill bit before you do this because, you know, $3 and then you can drill through it really fast. It wasn't really that hard. I mean, 2 minutes. So, hold on. Like I said, measure and make sure you buy the right size bolts. So I made some custom washer, thick washers, so they'll work fine. And I'll just get a wrench and we'll get back to you when this is all tightened up and good to go. Alrighty, so we just got that bolted on with those custom spacers right there, and this thing is sound as a pound. It ain't going nowhere. 2 bolts, and technically there shouldn't be any crazy pressure on this winch. So I have this on free spool, and this is how it will work. Now we don't have the pipe here yet, but there will be a pipe starting about here-ish, somewhere right about here, and it will go through the pipe, around and under this one, and it'll come out of the end of the pipe right here. Okay, it'll go down here and it will be attached to that metal bracket that we have. And why I showed you that metal bracket is because that metal bracket, its holes perfectly aligned with these 2 bolts on the end for this stopping bracket. Okay, and I'll show you what we're gonna do with that stopping bracket. It'll make more sense when we have the stop thing here. But these are the brackets that stop the sawmill from rolling off the tracks, and normally you'll see them like this. Okay,
Give you the maximum amount of
That'll give you about another inch towards the end. But since we are going to be putting that stop here to attach the winch to, we don't want the sawmill to run into that stop. So all you have to do is switch these around and then bolt them on like that. I did that to both of them. And then slide our bracket on the outside. That way it won't bump into our bracket. You lose about 2 inches, but since this whole thing is gonna be electronically winch driven, it's totally worth it. And normally you don't use that extra 2 inches on the end anyway. So, okay, so we're gonna take out this solar panel. This is monoxide. Okay, so everything that I'm using today will be linked in the description below. I'll have a thing that says, here's the list for all the stuff, and those will be Amazon links. Everything that I bought here was Amazon, and it was around roughly $200. Now, some stuff is like optional, like this solar panel. Some people need it, some people don't, so that's why I'm saying around $200. If it's $230 or $220, you know, it's rough. So, this solar panel actually comes with these little jumpers, and you literally just clip them right onto the battery. So that is super easy. And then what I'm gonna do, carefully without damaging the solar cells, I have some of this Velcro strip. You could pick this up pretty much anywhere. And I'm going to be attaching this against the bottom. And that's what I'm gonna be using to attach it to the mill head here.
That's what I was thinking. I want it sideways like that, so it doesn't, when we're driving it down the highway, I don't want it to get
up against this thing.
Yeah, probably. It's waterproof, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if I spill water on it, it should be fine. And then you can just kind of.
Look at that.
Dude, it ain't going nowhere, dude.
No.
Just go.
That'll get a couple pounds. Get that. You might want unvelcro this real quick.
Yeah, it'll stick down. No, it ain't not going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere. There. That's all good and waterproof. Now here, so we can just clip them on there, and I'm gonna actually turn this one. That way they're both facing inward. There, and then you can just simply, there. So now it's all hooked up for that solar there. So now, so our sawmill has this big metal plate. Most of them usually have some sort of plate or bracing back here that you'll be able to mount your speed control box. So I'm gonna get that mounted and drill some little holes in here, get that all screwed on, and then we can work on wiring that up. And I'll show you how to do all of that. Alrighty, so not to confuse y'all and to make it extremely easy for you, that way you don't have to go through all the painstaking amount of thinking that I have to. 2 hours later, okay. Okay, I got that. So, this is the winch, the box that comes with the winch. This is exactly how it'll come here. So here's the, normally with the winch, all you do is you connect this side of the battery, connect this blue and yellow with the winch, and you're good to go. But since we're adding this control box, this is where it's gonna make stuff start to get backwards and confusing. So I'm just focus with me here. So as you can see, we still want this connected to the battery. Now we want our speed control box between the winch and the battery to control the voltage going through, right? So we can't just connect it to here because there'll be no voltage. So we have to we're connecting it to the battery, and then what we're doing is the part that usually just connects up to the winch, we run it in. And on this one, I like this box because it tells you power plus and power minus. So on winch wires, the yellow is positive and the blue is negative. And that's why I just got the same wires, that way it's not gonna be confusing. So even though it looks kind of confusing with the red and the black here, as you can see, red is power, black is ground. So I already had them connected in here. So all I did, these had those little end connectors on them. When I got the winch, I just cut them off, stripped them, and then screwed them right in there. That's all I did. So make sure all these screws are tight. And now I am gonna say one thing. I'm just gonna tighten all these down here. When you get this power supply box, expect for these bottom 4 screws and some of the other screws to be missing and gone. They're not actually gone. What they are is now, if there was a better product to offer you, I would give you a different link. But this is pretty much the best, like the best for the price, and it's a decent unit. So what they do is they just throw the screws in the box super loose, and they get up behind the panel. So when you get this thing, shake it, and the screws will fall out. Just do it on a table where you can watch the screws. The screws will fall out. So that is kind of a pain, but you know, it does happen when you buy cheaper stuff. So you're gonna route these through there, and these have these nice little waterproof wire crimps, which is nice. It'll keep it all sealed. So now we're gonna take this wire, and I got 10 feet. We will probably not need even close to 10 feet each, but that's the rolls they come in. I think these are $7 for one of these rolls. So now, all you have to do with this is just look at these colors here. So you can see that we have blue and yellow. So we're just gonna line up blue with yellow. So that makes it easy for that part. Slide it through all the way until it stops. So now, yellows and blues. So now we're just gonna grab our blue. All of our wires and terminals are all cinched up nice and tight. And I didn't cut these off. Oopsie, let's not get them mixed up. Okay, I didn't cut these off because I don't know how much we'll need yet. So now all you do is, there's a yellow and a blue terminal on the winch. There's a yellow and blue terminal on the winch, and you simply attach these wires. So what you do is we're gonna be using these little crimp connectors, and that's how I'll bolt them on. So we'll show you that, but first we wanna figure out how we wanna get this panel mounted. And it looks like there's 4 really deep, far down there screws. So the holes that it comes with are way down in these really far notches here. You see they're super far down and I can't get to them. So all I'm gonna do is drill 4 new holes. There's actually these 4 dots, and if you have a human eye, you could see them. But there's 4 dots, so I'm just gonna drill. Oh, the mill's not moving, it's just my hands. Okay, we got those holes marked. Hole, 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 hole. I'm gonna use these. I use these self-tappers, but I still just pre-drill a little hole because it makes them go through a lot easier. And this is some decently thick steel. You could, like if you're like a super, like wanting everything to match, you could take your time, tape this off and paint it, but.
Green,
or whatever color your sawmill is, but I kind of like it. So.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
So I'm gonna make sure the holes line up. That hole lines up.
That's good.
Actually, 2 is rock solid, and it's kind of swirls around a little bit, and I don't want to risk damaging these thin wires up here. So 2 is rock solid. It's never going anywhere. So I'm just gonna leave it at 2. So now these little ring terminals, I'm just gonna crimp them on, and we'll get back to you in a second.
We are real quick. We're actually going to be testing out our system and making sure all of our wire connections are working.
Of course.
It will always work beautifully.
So I had to cut them off and just put on the bigger terminals because the bolts on my batteries are kind of big and I didn't have any smaller ones. If you want to, you can just get some smaller bolts, but I just put on these bigger terminals.
So this is just for the test deal, so it doesn't even need to be perfect.
Crazy permanent here.
And everything will be all right. Yep. Good job, James.
Right. Thank you, strong man.
I'm just joking.
I'm just scared the bull crap out of me. Wow, it can go slow.
Wow, it can go slow, dude.
Okay, let's see how fast it can go. Oh, my.
It takes it a second.
That's full speed.
That's perfect.
And then look, you can rev it down. How low can you make it down? Oh my soul, y'all. You know what we're gonna do now, boy? Okay, so wait, what? When you click out. Okay, so see, when you click out, it won't do anything.
Until you press reverse.
Until you press reverse, but we don't need that because all we do is free spool.
Free spool.
But if you needed to, you would just click that. So that is good and mounted. So now all we have to do, organize the wires going to the battery and just get this stuff all organized. Alrighty, y'all, so I took like 20 minutes and just tidied this all up, zip tied it, made it all nice. I installed this switch and found out that that little red wire that comes off of it, all you need to do is crimp on a connector, and I use this yellow thick wire, which is kind of overkill, but you just reattach that little red wire back to the hot on the battery terminal, and then it'll work. It just gives power to it. So The mounting clip that actually came with this works perfect, and it's pretty strong, so that will work great. I'm gonna show you how this works real quick. And I didn't film me like zip tying everything up, but I just assume that y'all have common sense and know like make it nice how you want to. And since every sawmill is different, it's gonna vary. But I just zip tied it, you know, kept up everything out of the way, and zip tied this, and that just mounted on there just like that. These pipes that I have over here that have been successfully kicked in the dirt by our horses, but these pipes over here,
nice and dry.
They're all dry. So you can see this is that bracket I use. Now what I did with these holes here, I'll show you all over here, is I just took a drill bit and just kind of widened them out. If you don't have a really good metal drill bit, just take a file and kind of widen them out. And all that did was, when I did that, it just allowed me enough room to fit these bigger bolts through there. So like I said, when you get this on your sawmill, it's gonna be, your stops are gonna be on like that. So unbolt it, switch it around. I know it's very complicated here, and then bolt that through. And these are lock nuts, and there is still plenty of room. And I slide this stop all the way forward that way they're even. And then when you're done this, just slide your saw. I did it on that to this one already, but when you're done this, tighten these up, and then like keep them loose. See how this can move? Slide your sawmill all the way to this end, and make sure that both of the little wheel bearings that ride on the track hit these stoppers evenly. That way it ends evenly on the mill. So I'm gonna get that, tighten that up real quick, and then I'll get back to y'all. This is what I wanted to tell you. Bring your sawmill forward. Make sure that it doesn't hit any metal and ruin your blade. Now I have our sawmill set to the lowest setting, and this would probably be a good tip to insert at the starting, but lower your sawmill all the way down. That way it's easy to work on hooking up your battery and stuff, and not way up here in the air. And
you have to do that so then there's enough slack,
yes,
for all your cables, yes, too. It should when you crank it all the way up.
I can let it out if I have to.
Yeah.
But okay, so what you're gonna do is bring this down to the end and see how, okay, so you see how these don't hit evenly? This one hits here and that one doesn't hit here.
Let that one go out a little bit.
So all I have to do is push this one in a little, and I'll even them up. So even them up, that way it ends evenly since you reattach them. And here is where we're going to introduce the part where there's two options. The easiest way is going to be just to weld. The easiest way, well, the way I'm doing it is welding, but I'll also show you how you can do it without welding. I want to make this so anybody can do it, even if you don't have a welder. Although a welder does make it kind of easy. You can pick up a little Lincoln Century welder for like 200 bucks, and they are nice. But where we take this metal pipe, but this pipe is gonna mount right there. Now you see why I wanted it black, because it'll blend right in there. And what it is this winch line will go right through there, right out there. You see what I mean? So right now I just marked it and cut that. And what I did is I just sanded the inside. Now there is a little bead that runs along the inside of the pipe, so you can't sand that down, but I sanded down the inside. That way it's smooth and not sharp. That way, since we are using a synthetic winch cable, you don't want any burrs to slowly wear it down and cut through it. So it is cut to size. It is all ready. It's all beat up, and some of the paint's already coming off it, so it's ready to mount. When I set this in here, I'm gonna put one clamp up here, right here, okay? Then what you could do, what I'm gonna do is put a couple spot welds there to hold it. But what y'all can do, if you don't have a welder and you're doing this the welderless way, just grab, they sell them. It's gonna kind of be hard to explain, but what you can do is you can either get some of these metal clamps and bend these tabs to where you can screw it there to hold itself on there. Like bend this over, like, you know what I mean? That way this can be screwed to the metal and it'll hold it there. Or what you can do is you can just get some of that metal strapping and strap it in there and screw it if you don't have a welder. Now I might even experiment with trying to use some of these clamps instead of welding it. I don't know, I'll goof around with that. But what I did over here is I drilled another one of those little pilot holes, and that's so I can clamp my clamp up here.
And that ends right there.
You can also buy these little conduit straps that have the straight one already on it. But I'm gonna manipulate it a little bit. And now it's a J-hook. Give it a couple more squeezes. There. So now, I'm okay. There. Now that'll slide in there and we can screw it in. No welding required. Alrighty. Tip. Take your time.
Alrighty. So no welding required. We put 1, 2, 3
and it is
J-hooks.
Step back.
Yeah.
And get a shot back here. You can barely even notice it. If we didn't scuff up the paint on it so much for the horses, you wouldn't even see it.
Yeah. But we're gonna connect the wire to the end of this and
fold it
and put it
and then go back.
And chink. Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
Pull her on through, baby. That'll stop it from going back up in there too, huh?
Oh yeah. Because now
that won't.
It doesn't fit. I'll show you there.
Sweet.
It doesn't fit.
Cool.
So now, is it on free spool?
Yeah, it's on free spool.
Okay, so.
Yep. So
let's grab the hook.
Chew.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's kind of cool because I
Dude.
Slide off.
No way.
Turn that on.
Turn this on.
I don't know how.
Forward.
And then just press in.
And then in.
Yep. And it's gonna tighten up. It's going pretty slow. You can speed it up if you want.
Yo, bro, it's moving all by itself.
Here, wait, grab the remote. Where's the remote?
Dude. Yeah, here we go. We'll turn it all the way up.
Shots here.
All right, go ahead. No, any faster and you'll break stuff. Look at that. So we'll let it go all the way to the end and we'll show the people what we mean. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and put it on
free spool.
Free spool. And now,
there you go, dude.
if we pull this on back,
like if you were milling, that's how you do every time.
yep. And then you back it up here to the end.
Back and watch.
So watch. So you'll get to the end here, boom. You'll go ahead and put this back off of free spool. You will, okay, and then you'll go ahead and put it on forward. Bingo.
Look at that. That's so beautiful.
That is beautiful, dude. That is beautiful.
All by itself.
Oh my goodness, dude. What have we created, dude? That's pretty cool. Also, if some people were wondering, when you back it up too, it's all still not under tension, but it's not on the ground. And also,
It's out of the way.
the blade is way up here and the rope is down here.
Logs, it's all out of the way.
Yeah, it's all out of the way.
Low. But this is your throttle for your gas, okay? So this is what makes the saw blade spin.
Correct.
So for you to be able just to drive this without actually holding this and staying right here, which you can do, you would just hold this down and then just push this button and it would, it would just push and you could walk it just like you do normally.
Yeah, you could.
But
we're trying
we want to go higher than that. So I think the easiest way for right now is to make ourselves a ring that just slides over it.
Like a rubber ring?
Not a rubber,
or
I
something?
think like a piece of wire or maybe even a piece of cable that's like a loop that we can just slide over it. I think that's the best for now.
It's good.
Right up there.
And then drop that down. Okay,
so let's, yep.
A wee bit. Go ahead. More.
A little bit more, just a hair. There, that should be good.
That holds it down there like that.
Yeah.
Now, what's it like trying to get it off? Yeah, adjust a little bit more.
A little more out.
A little bit more.
Okay.
We'll try that. That goes down there like that when you're...
Hold it. That holds it with no slide.
And then, boom.
There you go.
That's that's pretty dang easy. And then just chink. Oh, dude, that's fine.
And look, it won't come up.
You're not gonna...
Give
this
it a little
is
shake test.
Yeah, it's never gonna ever see that much vibration either. That's
There.
fine, dude. So...
2-cent piece right there.
Yeah, 2-cent piece. Boom. This is plenty fast enough. This is not going to inconvenience you.
No. Alrighty, y'all, so if you enjoyed this video so far and you're liking it as much as me, and if you do maybe even own one of your own sawmills and will be doing this, or know someone who has a sawmill that wants to do this, or share the idea, share the video, and tell them how I did it. And what would be a big blessing to me is, since I went through all the time and research of figuring all this out, if y'all could just do me a little favor by using the Amazon affiliate links that I have linked for this stuff in the description below. It doesn't cost you one extra penny, but it does give me a microscopical, extremely tiny amount from Amazon that does help with all the research and time and studying and figuring this system out, and that would be a big blessing to me. So if you are going to get this stuff, please use the links below, and I really appreciate it. Alrighty, y'all, so that is it for the end of this video. It's been a long time in the coming, but it's finally all done and working. So I'm gonna finish up milling up this beams once I swap out this blade. It's starting to get a little dull. So that's pretty much it for tonight. I'll be milling up a couple more beams, and that's pretty much it. So if y'all like this video, be sure to share it with friends and anybody you know. And if you're interested in any sawmilling, we are actually fully done setting up our mobile sawmilling business. So us boys, us three brothers, will be able, us three brothers have made a mobile sawmilling business. So if you are interested in getting some wood milled at your house and you're in the East Texas area, just give us an email at countrytexasboys@gmail.com and we'll get you hooked up, and we can always come to your house and mill up some of your wood just for you. So if you got logs, give us a shout on email and we'll get back to you. Alrighty, y'all have a blessed day. See you soon.